Good morning, good morning, good morning out there, and welcome back to At Home with Rhonda. I am at it again this morning, just taking care of some chores. Today is Wednesday. What date is it? The 27th. Oh my gosh, August is just about over. Anyway, today, so one of the things that I do, this is going to be a video that's going to be geared toward those people who are from the South. Or who maybe enjoy some of the benefits of the South, meaning sweet tea. I am completely out of sweet tea this morning, and I had the thought that I wanted to share with you all my life, ever since I've been making sweet tea. I just make it one pitcher at a time, and even though it's my husband and I here, we go through a lot of sweet tea, especially in the summertime, because it's so refreshing. And when I've been working outside in the garden, it's so refreshing. You come in and you're thirsty, and you want to just kind of guzzle down a glass of sweet tea. But one of the things that has just been so wonderful is my bonus mom, Helen. She does this thing that she calls reserve tea. And it's basically, when I'm in the process of making a pitcher of tea, why not go ahead and make another one, right? On reserve. And so what you have is you have your pitcher of tea, which I'm getting ready to make. I've had this, how many of you out there have this very same tea pitcher? I cannot even tell you how long I've had this. It's been a long time, and it's been a good one. But, you know, normally I just make a gallon of that, put it in there, and then, of course, it always runs out at the most inopportune time. You know, if I don't realize that we're getting low, and then I cook dinner, and then all of a sudden we don't have enough tea for the both of us. So, yes. So anyway, making reserve tea just means that I go ahead and I make a pitcher of tea, and then I make another pitcher concentrated, and I have these half-gallon jars, these canning jars. They're like a half a gallon, and I go ahead and I put the concentrate in there, I put the sugar in there, and I keep that in the back of the refrigerator. And what's wonderful is when I run out, all I have to do is wash out my container, and then I take out my reserve tea. I pour that in there. It already has the sugar in there, and I just have to fill the pitcher up with water, and boom, I've got another pitcher of tea. So that has worked really well for me today. So I'm going to kind of take you through that process of what I do. Now, I know everybody has a certain way and a certain brand of how you make your sweet tea. For me, let me take you down off of the stand here. For me, I'm a Louisiana girl. My spiritual mom, I lived with her and my spiritual parents for about 3 years. Mr. and Miss Harrell, Joseph and Evelyn Harrell are their names. And they made sweet tea almost every single day. And so I don't have a Louisiana box. Let me see, because I keep my tea bags. I keep my tea bags in the cupboard in a glass container, kind of like I'll show it to you in just a minute, but maybe I've got another one here. Yes. So I buy my Louisiana tea at Sam's Club, and it comes with a pack of 2. Let me turn that upside down here. All right, let's get this right here. Sorry. There we go. Louisiana. It looks backwards. But anyway, Louisiana tea is my favorite. I buy the family size bags, so that way I only have to use 4 bags for a pitcher of tea. And so that's what I'm going to do this morning. I have this little container that has kind of a seal on it. You know, I can put all my tea bags in here and clamp it closed, and it keeps it nice and fresh. I don't even know where I got this container, probably at a thrift store somewhere, but I love it. So all I'm going to do is take 4 tea bags. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2. This is another little Goodwill find that I absolutely love. I use mainly for tea. Definitely always use it for making sweet tea. but it has this little basket on the inside, and so, which makes it convenient because after I boil my tea, I can just take it out, squeeze out the bags, and everything is good to go. So that is what I'm going to do here. I'm about to drop everything. So we're just going to fill this up. I've got 4 family size tea bags, and I'm going to fill this up to this line. I don't know if you see the little seam line that's there. I'm going to fill the water up, okay, to about right there. And I don't know how much water is in there. And then I'm going to turn it on high. We're going to turn it on high. And then I will be back after it starts to boil. I usually will watch it, and as soon as it starts to boil, I'll turn the burner off, and then I'll let the tea bag steep for about 10 minutes. And then it should be good to go. So it just depends on how strong you like your tea. But anyway, I'm going to sign off for right now, and I'll be back as soon as I can get my tea boiling, okay? All right, we'll see you in a minute. Okay, guys, so we are just about there with boiling. And while I am still waiting for that, this is my sugar container. If you're from the South, you don't have just a little tiny sugar container. Again, I don't know where I got this from. It's Tupperware. It's very old. I probably got it from a thrift store because I'm a thrifter. I love shopping at thrift stores. So my thing, as far as how much sugar that I put in my tea, we are almost there, is I have this old-timey Tupperware scoop like this. And I usually do 2 full ones per gallon. Yes, you can be shocked. That's a lot of sugar. But hey, my thought is, if you're going to drink sweet tea, drink it sweet. Or just don't drink it at all. I'm sorry, that's just the way I feel about it. So I'm going to put 2 of those in here. And I'm going to put the sugar away for now. And now I think we are boiling. Yep. So here, let me show you. Just as soon as it gets a good boil, like that. I don't know if you can see. Let me turn it around. Just a good boil. I'm going to turn it off, and I'm going to leave it on the burner, and I'm going to let it sit there for about 10 minutes. So I will be back in just a few minutes. Okay, we're ready. So I'm going to take this tea, a little teapot. Hopefully you can see me. Let me bring you a little closer here. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to let it drain for just a couple of minutes or a minute. And then I'm going to get my little spatula, and I'm going to be very careful not to turn this over because it's a very hot liquid. But I just kind of like to press. You don't want to press too much or you will bust the bags, and then you will have tea, tea grounds, tea leaves, whatever, all in your tea, and you don't want that. But I'm just going to press that and try to get all of that tea out of there. And because I have not put sugar in the tea yet, I can actually use these tea bags and put it in my compost. So it's very good for your compost. So let me do that real quick. I'm going to get my little compost here, and I'm going to add it, because now if this already had sugar in it, I would not be able to put it in my compost because it has to be organic. So everything about that, the tea, the bag, everything is organic so that it can go into the compost. Anyway, another little safe measure that I use to make sure that I don't have any tea grounds, I put this little strainer on top. There we go. I put it on the top, and so when I pour my tea, and believe me, many times there are tea grounds in there, and so I don't have to go try to fish those out. I just pour it through the strainer. Most of the time there's nothing there, and there we go. Okay, now I'm going to get this ready to make my reserve batch. But before we do that, we want to put that to the side, and I'm just going to give it a stir. Now, one important lesson, oh my gosh, if you've never made sweet tea, please, please do not add the sugar after you have filled your pitcher full of cold water, because the sugar is not going to dissolve properly, okay? And what you'll be left with is some undissolved, sugar grains down at the bottom. So while it's good and hot, you want to go ahead and stir your sugar in there. Go ahead and get that to melt down. And then all I have to do is bring you over here to my sink. Make some room. I always have so much going on. One of the things that my husband says, can we at least have one sink that is not filled with something? So I know that's kind of a bad habit of mine. I have chicken for tonight thawing out. My son, daughter-in-law, and my 2 grandgirls are coming, so I've got some frozen chicken thighs ready for dinner tonight, or they're getting ready. So anyway, that's what I do. But I'm just going to fill. Some people would filter their water. I don't. I just don't. We live out in the country, and anyway, I just use tap water. So all we have to do is just fill the tea pitcher up to full, till it's full. And a lot of times if you just let the water pour into there, because there's sugar in there, it's going to try to foam. And to keep that from happening, I do this. I just let the water, kind of hit my spoon first. And that works really, really nicely. And then, of course, because it's my responsibility for quality insurance, we're going to taste it, right? And make sure it's good. It's good. It's perfect. So, I'll be back. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you about the reserve tea. So give me just a minute and let me get organized. Okay, this is the last video for making sweet tea and reserve tea. So again, I have my tea bags, which is Louisiana tea, and they're the family. Actually, it's decaf tea. So because we drink so much tea around here, I always get decaf. We just can't drink that much caffeine in one day. And I get this at Sam's Club. You get 2 boxes in 1 pack, and they're family size bags. So it kind of goes a little further. So I have my half-gallon jar, and I have the lid that's going to go with it. So we'll get that ready. But kind of like rinse and repeat what I did earlier, we're going to put 4 bags. This will be my reserve tea batch, 3 and 4. And then I'm going to fill it up with some water. Here we go. Just come along with me. I appreciate you guys being here today. I hope that these videos are helpful to you. And a lot of the things you're going to say, well, I already know how to make sweet tea. And that's perfectly great. If you've got some ideas, if you do something that's different than what I do, I would love to hear your ideas. So definitely feel free to, put your comments and your ideas and suggestions. Because, hey, we're always learning. Until the day I go meet Jesus, there's always something to learn, something new to learn, something new to discover. It's just like the reserve tea. I never knew about making reserve tea until my bonus mom, Helen, said, I started noticing that every time we'd go over for dinner and she'd run out of tea, she'd go to her refrigerator and boom, she had a whole batch of tea ready. So, there's just things that we can learn. So I have filled up my pot. Now I'm going to turn it on high and rinse and repeat. So I will be back for the last video to show you my reserve tea. So hold on, tune in, and we'll be right back. Okay, guys, we are ready for our reserve tea. So rinse and repeat, like I said before. I have made the tea. I let it come to a boil. I have 4 family-sized tea bags, Louisiana, decaffeinated. And now all I have to do is the same thing that I did before, is I'm going to squeeze my tea bags, and I'm going to try to get as much tea out of there as I can. We'll put that to the side. And then this is going to be my reserve tea concentrate. And what that means is I'm going to put the same amount of sugar which is one of these scoops. Let me turn you here a little bit more, okay? So I'm going to put 2 of these scoops, which ends up being a cup and a half. So we're going to do 2 of those like that. And I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. And let me get my strainer. What did I do with the strainer? Here it is. So then I'm going to very carefully pour the tea in here. I'm not going to add any more water because, again, this is going to be my reserve tea concentrate. So we're just going to give that a little stir. Melt all of that sugar. Again, when I was in the last segment, I told you never ever put your tea after you have added cold water. It's just not going to melt and dissolve properly. So after that gets good and dissolved, I'm going to give that a little shake there. I'm going to get my lid, and this is what's going to go in the back of the refrigerator. So that after my tea pitcher is empty, all I'll have to do is pull this out, pour it into my tea pitcher, and fill up the tea pitcher with cold water, and I'll have another whole gallon of tea. So there you have it, guys. I hope this will be helpful to you. If you don't drink sweet tea, you're probably not going to appreciate this video. But hopefully those of you out there, especially from the South, who drink a lot of sweet tea, this could be a lifesaver. So take care. God bless. May the Lord bless you, keep you, and give you peace. Have a good day.